When we think about protecting ourselves from the sun, there are a number of ways that we can do that. First of all is to wear protective clothing. That's very important. Hats can protect our face as well as our ears and the back of our neck. So oftentimes people think, well, I put on a baseball hat. Well, that really just protects your nose, but misses almost the rest of your face. So wearing an appropriate wide-brimmed hat is very important. In addition, wearing protective clothing, such as lightweight long-sleeve shirts, tightly knit shirts, can be very helpful. And if you go to sporting goods stores, you'll often find sun shirts that are made not only to protect you from the sun, but can also help protect you from the heat of the sun, and so they can be very comfortable to wear even on hot days. Finally, there are products that you can wash your clothes in that add SPF protection to your clothing, and that typically that protection will last for about 20 washes, and then the clothing needs to be washed in the special detergent again. That's readily available through various outlets. I often am asked about sunscreen and what's the best kind of sunscreen to use. Well, if you look at the various brands of sunscreen, as long as the SPF is 30 or higher, they're usually going to be pretty effective. The real problem isn't in choosing the right sunscreen. The real problem comes in using the sunscreen in the right way. In order to use a sunscreen properly, first of all, you have to apply enough. In most studies where they look at how well people apply sunscreen to themselves, they are very inadequate in the amount as well as how evenly they distribute the sunscreen. I was reading in a magazine recently where they were saying that it's important to apply your sunscreen 20 minutes before you go out. Now that's important, of course, because it takes 20 minutes for most of the sunscreens to become effective. The surprising thing is they recommended reapplying right before you go out, because that way not only do you give it 20 minutes to be effective with your first application, but that second application ensures that you didn't miss any spots. The other important thing to remember is that there's different types of sunscreen. There are sunscreens that are chemical blockers. Chemical blockers take about 20 to 30 minutes to become effective once they're applied, and they absorb a particular wavelength of light. Most of the chemical blockers that we have absorb ultraviolet light B. There are specific A blockers in the United States, however most of those are broken down by ultraviolet B light, so they need to be reapplied very frequently. There is one sunscreen in the United States called Mexoryl that is a specific A blocker that is not sensitive to UVB, and so it's much more stable and provides longer lasting protection than the more common UVA blockers. The other type of sunscreens that are available are mechanical blockers, and these work by reflecting light. We all remember zinc oxide on lifeguards' noses, and that's one of the A blockers. There's another one called titanium dioxide, and both of these are available in forms that, when applied, can be very difficult or impossible to see, unlike the white on the lifeguard's nose. The other important thing is it's extremely important to protect children from the sun. If we look at a single blistering sunburn for a young child, that increases the risk of skin cancer in adulthood very significantly. It's also very good practice to apply sunscreen every day, whether it's cloudy or sunny, because we get a lot of sun even through the clouds. Sitting underneath a tree doesn't even offer very much protection from the sun. So it's important, whether you think you're going to be out in the sun or not, especially during the summer months, to apply sunscreen every day. For women, that can be easily done through their makeup, because a lot of makeups these days have a significant sun protection factor built in. Well, you can see that there's a lot to learn about sunscreen and a lot to do to help protect yourself from the sun. I hope that this is helpful in terms of motivating you to protect yourself from the sun, as well as educating you, so that as you grow older, you can have skin that remains youthful, beautiful, and free of cancer.